I died. Not completely, but enough. A few years ago, a stroke tore through my body and dropped me into a silence so total, so complete that the world I had been running through simply stopped. And in that stillness, in the sacred, terrifying space between survival and becoming, I saw something. I didn't see my life flash before my eyes the way people describe it in the movies. No. What I saw was something stranger than that and far more useful. I saw a long thread running through the eye of a really tall needle. And as I watched, in that space where time had stopped, my friends, the thread began to move. Yes. And in that dream, I saw 6 shapes appeared. I saw a cross. I saw a bridge. I saw a sword. I saw a bow and arrow. I saw a stitched heart. And I saw a shield. I didn't know what they meant at that time, but I knew they were meant for me. And I knew they had something to do with why I was still alive. I knew it instinctively and intuitively. And in that dream, I also saw my grandmother's hands. The way she would pull mismatched scraps of fabric into something whole, something warm, something meaningful. I saw that. And in that moment, I remember how something in me understood. What I thought was broken was not finished. It was material. It was memory. It was pattern. And ultimately, I discovered it was thread. T.H.R.E.A.D. I am Dr. Leonie H. Mattison, an organizational development practitioner, a mother, a grandmother, a student of human behavior, leadership, and systems. And for the last several decades, I have been obsessed with one question that has grown into many inquiries. I want to know, why do people, intelligent, motivated, deeply good people, keep repeating the same patterns in different circumstances, under different names, wearing different clothes? I'm curious. I want to know, why does one person move through crisis and emerge clarified while another person moves through the exact same crisis and comes out more contracted? I'm curious. I want to know, why do organizations spend billions on change initiatives and still return to the same dysfunction within 18 months? I'm curious. I want to know, why do some families pass down wisdom through generations and others pass down wounds? This is not just a series of questions about willpower or intelligence. Not at all. These are questions about pattern, and I have an interest in understanding patterns, the way we behave, the way we show up. I'm curious, really, really, really curious. And so I want you to take a breath with me for a moment. Because these questions have never been more urgent than they are today. You and I will both agree that we're living inside a period of disruption. It's relentless, multi-layered, that most of us have simply normalized the exhaustion of it. Technology is not just changing, it is literally rewriting what it means to be human in a workforce, which is pretty scary. Institutions we were raised to trust are shaken or have shaken. They're no longer here. Leaders are being asked to navigate uncertainty while hiding their own uncertainty. I also see families who are trying to hold things together while the floor keeps moving. Disruption does not simply reveal whether you are strong or weak. We were led to believe that, right? However, we're experiencing that that isn't true. Disruption reveals what you have practiced. That is true. Disruption also reveals what you have inherited, what you have normalized, and what you are being invited, sometimes even forced, to reweave. That's the disruption that we're experiencing today. And so, in my work with leaders, organizations, and communities, I kept seeing the same thing. And maybe you have witnessed this as well. I kept seeing how beneath every pressure point, beneath every recurring conflict, beneath every stalled transformation, there was a pattern. And I noticed that, and I became very curious. I noticed that this pattern was woven into the fabric of how people move, that they couldn't see it anymore. I noticed that these individuals were living and are still living within this pattern. And so I began calling it the thread, T.H.R.E.A.D. The thread is not a metaphor at all. It is a diagnostic. It is also the underlying pattern that shapes how you respond when life begins to pull at the seams. The thread shapes what you carry forward, what you persist, what you repeat, and also what you are finally ready to release. That's the thread. And every person watching me right now, you have a thread. Every organization, every family, every community, every nation has a thread. And until we learn to see it, until we learn to hold it up to the light, until we learn to trace where it came from and where it is taking us, guess what, my friends? We will keep weaving the same story and call it a new beginning. I've noticed that. And so you might be asking, how do we see it? How do we work with a pattern that has been operating in the background of our lives, sometimes for decades? That is why I created the T.H.R.E.A.D thread system. So you have the thread and we have the system. The system is a 6-part transformation framework, and I'd like to walk through it with you today. It's not a checklist. It's not a quick fix at all. It's a practice. I also see the thread system as a way of moving through disruption with clarity, wisdom, courage, and design. So remember those 6 shapes I saw at the threshold? Each one is a practice and each one is a symbol that was given to me before I had words for it. And over the last couple of years, I've been really handling this with care. So let me walk you through the thread system one by one. T, think deeply. That's where the cross lives. The intersection of the vertical soul and the horizontal world, the crossroads of deep reflection. And this is where you get to slow down enough to ask, what is actually happening here? Not the surface story, the real one. The cross stood at the crossroad of 2 worlds, the vertical and the horizontal. It's the depth of your soul, the breadth of the world around you. And so to think deeply is to stand at the crossroads, to stop, to breathe, to ask, what is real beneath what is visible? H, harvest wisdom. That's the bridge. It connects the shore of your past to the shore of your future, gathering what you've already lived. Your life has already taught you things you have not yet claimed. The grief that cracked you open, the failure that quietly recalibrated you, the ancestors who survived what you thought would break you. That is data. That is wisdom. Harvest it. A bridge does not erase the distance it crosses, it honors it. To harvest wisdom is to build the bridge between the shore of your past and the shore of your future. R, release patterns. That's the sword. What cuts away what has overstayed, the precision to discern between protection and imprisonment. And this is the hardest one, because some of the patterns that are limiting you today won't save you. The armor that protected the child becomes the cage that confines the leader. And so you have to be willing to lay it down. And a sword does not destroy, it discerns. It cuts away what has overstayed its welcome with courage and precision. So I want you to see courage as always, as your weapon, right? E is the endless allies. And that's where the bow and the arrow lives. You cannot aim alone. The ally is the bow and you're the arrow, and together you have a range. And transformation is not a solo sport. You cannot see your own thread clearly. You need people who love you enough to tell you the truth and skilled enough to help you work with it. And so a bow and arrow cannot function as one. The arrow needs the bow needs the arrow. Without each other, both are useless. So your allies are not luxury. They're the architecture of your aim. A, adopt change. That's where the stitch heart lives. The art mended by practice, love made visible through the daily work of becoming. Not perform it, not announce it, practice it. The small, daily, often unglamorous shifts that accumulate into different life. A stitch heart is not a broken heart. It is a heart that has been mended on purpose with care. So every stitch heart is a choice. So I want you to love where you are, love who you are, even as discomforting as it may be at times. Love who you're becoming. The D is to design wholeness. And that's where the shield lives. Protecting the integrated self. You're becoming not armored against the world, but whole within it. This is not about perfection at all. Wholeness is the integration of everything you are, everything you've survived, everything you have learned. You can weave it into moving forward to who you're becoming. A shield does not run from the world. It stands in it, whole, grounded, protected, not by the armor, but by integration, by knowing who you are and what you carry. 6 practices, 6 symbols, 1 framework. It's built from a vision I did not ask for, but could not refuse. My friends, patterns can be seen, and what can be seen can be shifted. And what can be shifted, my friends, can be rewoven. Yes. And you have the power to do that. No matter what you're faced with in this moment, I need you to hear this next part. And I hope you will receive that. Because this is what keeps me working and keeps me up at night. Unresolved patterns do not stay private. They become culture. They become policy. They become leadership habits that shape the lives of thousands, if not millions of people who never even know your name. That stress pattern blind leader is not just suffering privately. They're transmitting. But, there's a but. Yes. A leader who has done the work to see their thread. A leader who has stood at the crossroad and looked inward. A leader who has built the bridge and harvested their lessons and the wisdom gained. A leader who has lifted the sword and released what confined them. That leader, and I believe that you're that leader, you transmit that too. And that, my friends, that is how transformation scales. Not through better systems alone. Yes, AI is important and technology is important, but guess what? You are the most and the number one asset in any organization. It is through you and what you have learned and how you are rewoven yourself. It matters. Never discount that, especially when you're faced with difficult situations. I hope you can receive that. So I want to leave you with something simple. Not a framework, not a statistics, and not a call to action. I have a question for you. What is the thread running through your life right now? Not the role you're performing, not the title you're carrying, not even the crisis everyone around you can see. Not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what is the pattern? What is that pattern? What is the thing that keeps showing up under different names, in different seasons, wearing different faces? Yet, it's asking you to finally see it. What is it? Because here's what I learned in that hospital bed, in the silence after the stroke, watching a thread move through a needle and become 6 sacred shapes. I learned that the thing that feels like it is unraveling is not always falling apart. Sometimes it's asking to be rewoven. And the future you are waiting for, my friends, the version of yourself, your leadership, your family, your work, it is not waiting for you to become someone else. Not at all. It is waiting for you to gather the pieces, to stand at the crossroad and look inward, to walk across the bridge and reflect backward, to raise the sword and release what no longer serves your highest good, to pick up the bow and enlist the people who help you aim further, to stitch the heart, your heart, and practice becoming, to raise the shield and step forward as the whole person that you are. It is time to see the pattern. You have the power within you to shift the story. Yes, you do. You have that power. Don't you ever give it away. I want you to use that power to weave what comes next. You have the power. Yes, I'm talking to you. You have the power to weave what comes next.